Hey, Jeff McQuillan here from ESL Podcast and Learn English Magazine. So let's start with the first headline. The first headline is here, and it is, what is fueling airlines' growth? What is fueling airlines' growth? Fuel is normally what we use to describe energy, something that gives a body or a vehicle energy. So gasoline, oil, coal, solar power, all of these could be fuel to help operate or run a machine or a vehicle. An airline uses fuel. It uses oil that it burns in order to run the engine. Your car, most cars, if they're like my car, use gasoline to run the engine. Well, we're talking now about airlines, but we're not talking about airline fuel, and this is where you get the double meaning of the word. We're talking about fueling airlines' growth. Growth comes from the verb to grow, which means to make bigger, to increase. When you are born, you begin to grow. You grow until you are an adult, and then you grow your hair, and then you lose your hair, like me, you see. So sometimes the growth stops. Well, growth means increase, but growth can also be used to mean increase in terms of a company's profits, in terms of how much money it makes, or in terms of how big a business gets. This headline, what is fueling airlines' growth, is not talking about how big an airline grows, because an airline can't grow, but it can grow in the sense that the business gets bigger. So fueling growth here is about how big and how successful airlines are becoming. Our second headline also uses double meanings in the word. It is this one here, drones fight to stay aloft. Well, a drone is this thing here. That's an example of a drone. It's what we call an unmanned aircraft. An unmanned aircraft is an aircraft that flies without there being any human being in it. The word man here doesn't mean man, as in I'm a man versus a woman. Man here simply means that there isn't a person who is on the craft that is actually right there. Now, of course, unmanned aircraft are directed by people on the ground, right? We hope. Well, a drone then is an unmanned aircraft, and this headline says that drone fights to stay aloft. Here the double meaning is in the expression to stay aloft. The word aloft means to be up in the air. A balloon could be aloft. A plane could be aloft. A helicopter could be aloft. To stay aloft means to remain or to keep aloft, to keep up in the air, not to fall down and hit the ground, which of course you don't want to happen if you have an aircraft. So what is this article about? Well, another key to the article and another double meaning in the article is the word fights. This is about a company that produces drones called Orion that has or is trying to get a contract with the U.S. Department of Defense. The U.S. Department of Defense is in charge of or responsible for our Army, our Navy, our Marine Corps, and so forth. So fights here refers to the fact that this drone is used for military purposes. Military, once again, refers to Army, Navy, that sort of thing, using people and things in a war, for example. So the drone fights to keep aloft. It's really about the company is trying to keep itself in business. It's trying to not go out of business because the Pentagon apparently is not interested in buying this drone. So the drone company is trying to stay aloft. They're trying to stay in business. Maybe the drone company needs some fuel from the airline companies in order for the company to grow. Possible. So that's an example of how in American newspapers and in newspapers in other countries, and I'm guessing in other languages, also use this idea of the double meaning of words in order to get your attention, in order to grab your attention, we might say. I hope I've grabbed your attention enough to become a member of ESL Podcast and to become a subscriber to Learn English Magazine. From Los Angeles, California, I'm Jeff McQuillan. Thank you for listening. Come back and listen to us again right here on Headline English.